This is BBC World News. I'm Yalda Hakim, the latest headlines. Controversy after tear gas is used on a peaceful protest outside the White House before President Trump goes to a nearby church for photos. He says violence across the United States must end. Let's get to Afghanistan now. Just yesterday, the UN put out a report accusing the Taliban of continuing to support al-Qaeda despite its landmark agreement with the United States to cut off ties with the terrorist group. This comes as the first talks between the government in Afghanistan and the Taliban look set to go ahead within the next few weeks. Now, in a moment, I'll be speaking live to Dr. Abdullah, who's leading those talks for the government and says he's ready to start the discussions at any moment. But first, let me just take you through Afghanistan's journey to this point. Now, in 2001, a US-led coalition overthrows the Taliban government in Afghanistan after the 9/11 terror attack, saying it had provided safe haven for Osama bin Laden and al-Qaeda training camps. In 2004, a new Afghan constitution is adopted, and Hamid Karzai becomes the first democratically elected president. Over the years, there have been various plans to pull US troops out of Afghanistan, but thousands still remain. It's been a costly war in loss of life on all fronts. About 157,000 people have been killed since 2001. That's according to the Watson Institute at Brown University. And more than 43,000 of those have been civilians. Now, hopes of an end to violence came in February this year when the US signed a peace agreement with the Taliban, which involves the gradual withdrawal of the remaining US troops. Now the Afghan government and the Taliban are on course to hold talks together in the next few weeks. Well, let's go live now and speak exclusively to Dr. Abdullah, chairman of the High Council for National Reconciliation. This is his first interview since taking on that role, and he's in Kabul now. Thank you, Dr. Abdullah, for joining us. I'd like to begin with that UN report which came out yesterday that says al-Qaeda is operating in Afghanistan together with the Taliban. Are you alarmed by this report?
Thank you, Yalda. Of course, the presence of al-Qaeda in Afghanistan has been the cause of much miseries for our people and also around the world. Taliban movement severing ties or cutting ties with al-Qaeda was part of the US-Taliban agreement. It is not fully implemented in this respect. According to our US colleagues, there has been progress, but much more needs to be done. Yes, of course, it is a cause of concern for us.
Do you believe this UN report? Because if it's the case, then it's in clear violation of that deal with the United States, which was signed at the end of February.
I haven't gone into details of the UN report. I know broadly what it is speaking about, but the point is that we do know that they have not reached to the point that they could claim that they have cut all ties with al-Qaeda. They are not supporting al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda is not supporting Taliban. We are not there yet.
Let's just have a look at the response from the Taliban, because they've denied this particular report. They've issued a statement in the last hour or so saying that it's completely baseless. I believe we're going to put that on the screen in a moment. Dr. Abdullah, do you trust the Taliban?
It's not the issue of trusting the Taliban or any other group. It's to put everybody's intention and will into a test by starting the intra-Afghan negotiations, which hopefully it will start in some times from now.
But do you think you can do business with them?
They're there. It's a movement which has a history of more than 2 decades in our country. They are armed. They are fighting. Though recently there has been some reduction in violence, which has been observed by both sides, including a ceasefire during the Eid, which was welcomed by all the people of Afghanistan. But at the same time, we need to come to an understanding with them. There is no doubt that this saga will not finish or will not conclude by the continuation of the war.
But
we don't believe that fighting is...
Given the US is leaving, Dr. Abdullah, do you think you're negotiating from a position of weakness?
The US has signed an agreement with the Taliban that's now everybody has access to that, to the details of that agreement. The other side of the issue is that Taliban have made some commitments, including cutting ties with Al-Qaeda or not supporting them or not getting support with Al-Qaeda or any other terrorist group in Afghanistan will not be used by the terrorists against our own people or against any other country. This is one of the commitments which Taliban have made. The point is that we need to start. We need to get together, start negotiations, and if anybody, whether it's Taliban or any other side, believes that they can win militarily, that's not possible.
But are you worried that they're waiting?
The US has...
Are you worried that they're waiting for the Americans to leave and then they will go back to their old ways? Because they have also, this UN report also does say that they feel confident that they can take power back by force if need be, or if the US leaves, prematurely.
There might be some thinking as such among some groups amongst the Taliban. But the fact that they have shown readiness for the start of the talks, that's a different issue. That opens an opportunity. And we all have gone through this in the past more than four decades. The country has been at war. And at one stage, Taliban were in control of 70% of the country or 80% of the country. But that didn't mean that...
You were personally at the forefront of that. You were fighting the Taliban in the 90s. Your leader, Ahmad Shah Massoud, was killed. How do you reconcile that then personally, sitting across from people who killed so many of your friends and family?
Yes, of course. I've been in the resistance and jihad against the Soviets and later on in the resistance against the Taliban. And Taliban and Al-Qaeda. And so many lives have been lost. And only in a matter of a few weeks, if we refer to the statistics 3 weeks back, around 3,000 people were killed, had lost their lives in Afghanistan. And it's because of the suffering of all of us together. The people of Afghanistan have paid a big price. That's why we believe we should put an end to this.
What are the Afghan people saying to you?
All I can say.
What are the Afghan people saying to you about a potential deal and the Taliban returning to Afghanistan in the form or part of a power-sharing government?
The Afghan people, absolute majority of Afghan people want peace. And they want just and acceptable and durable peace. They want their own rights to be preserved. At the same time, they don't want the suffering of the people of Afghanistan to continue, the killing of people to continue. And they do understand that Taliban are a movement that they have established themselves in Afghanistan through fighting.
What assurances
if there is any way that we...
What assurances then can you give?
Sorry?
What assurances can you give then the Afghan people, the young people, the women, that they won't be sold out in any kind of negotiation or deal that you strike with the Taliban?
It will not be me striking a deal with the Taliban. I'm leading the High Council for Reconciliation in Afghanistan, which we will do through consensus. The political leaders are there, the civil society, women are represented, and also the negotiating team, which is a relatively, I can say, inclusive team representing the voice of the majority of the people of Afghanistan. The majority of the people of Afghanistan are not ready to go back to the old days.
But at the same time,
they are ready to reconcile.
Who has the final word then? Do you have the final say, or does the President Ghani?
No, we are working in consultation. Just like a few minutes ago, I left a meeting which was about peace, and that meeting still continues. When it comes to making peace and also achieving just and durable peace and preserving the the achievements of the people of Afghanistan, we are in sync. We are working together, and the whole country needs to work together. And we should present a unified voice when it comes to peace. There are political issues. There will be other issues which you might find different voices and different views about it. But when it comes to peace, it's incumbent on us, based on the suffering and sacrifices of the people of Afghanistan, that we should represent them and represent the voice of the majority of the people, and that will be the job of the negotiating team. And us here in Afghanistan, building consensus around it, interacting with the people, getting people on board, and assuring the people that this is not a selling out, but this is rather a response to the call of the majority of the people for achieving peace.
It's a messy picture, though, isn't it? Because you've got ISIS. We're getting reports that Al Qaeda still operates in the country, and then, of course, there's the military arm of the Taliban. Just a few weeks ago, you talked about the level of violence. We saw a devastating attack on a maternity ward in the centre of Kabul, where mothers were killed, babies were killed. The Americans say it was ISIS. The Afghan government says it was the Taliban. Who do you believe?
We have not seen evidences that it was Taliban. At the same time, ISIS is also active, but we think that the key will remain in us making peace, or Taliban making peace, in achieving a peaceful path. Then the country will be able to deal with the rest of it, and the people of Afghanistan will be able to deal with the rest of it. But nevertheless, the situation is complicated.
Dr.
Yes.
Abdullah, we're just short on time, so I wanted to ask you about this report that we're getting that top leadership of the Taliban have caught COVID-19 coronavirus. So, you know, they have the top leadership missing. Can you confirm that that's the case?
I'm not sure. I cannot say. And God save us all from COVID-19. It's a global challenge, and many people have lost their lives, including in our own people. But the Taliban leadership, as far as their communication through Qatar office and through other means are concerned, they are leading the efforts, which hopefully will lead to intra-Afghan negotiations.
Dr. Abdullah, we've just got 30 seconds. If you can just sum up for me what a future Afghanistan, in your view, will look like.
I'm hopeful, and I'm sure one day it will come, that Afghanistan will be a peaceful country, a democratic country, unified country, living at peace within and without, and contributing to the prosperity of its own people, with its own people enjoying their rights, and also to the prosperity of the region. I have no doubt about it. But we need to overcome the challenges which are here around us to leave a legacy behind
we'll have to leave it
for the future generations,
there. Dr.
which they
Abdullah,
deserve it.
Always great to talk to you. Thank you very much.
Hello there. The rain in Oman has now eased, but torrential rainstorms across Yemen for the